Yo, what is going on, guys? Winter Kills here, and welcome to a brand new episode of One Deck, One Month featuring Rikka. Here we are in episode 2. It is currently Saturday at about 4:30 in the afternoon, so going to be heading out to locals in about an hour or so. And we have a completely different main and side deck going into today's tournament. I'll show you guys the changes I made and sort of what the game plan is and the reasoning behind those changes. We'll go over those in just a minute, but first I want to update you guys on some cool things that have happened this week, not only within the Yu-Gi-Oh space, but outside of the Yu-Gi-Oh space as well. So if it wasn't already evident by the shelf and the wall behind me, I really love collecting things. Collections have been a big part of my life for as long as I can remember, honestly. Ever since I was a little kid, I've been into collecting things like Pokemon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, on top of things like model aircraft, trains, coins, UI Beanie Babies, if you guys can remember those things. I've always loved collecting one thing or another. And I want to say in the past 5 years or so, I've gotten really into collecting vinyl music. Something about that physical form of media, the way the artwork is displayed, the unique process of going about actually playing the music, all that stuff, the unique sound quality that it has. It's really fun and something I've really come to enjoy quite a bit. And getting to own certain special albums outside of just having them digitally on your phone. Things like this, like Linkin Park's Hybrid Theory, obviously rest in peace Chester. Owning something physical like this is much more, I think, meaningful than just having it on your phone. Obviously a really amazing album, amongst other things too, like getting the soundtracks of your favorite video games or albums that you grew up with or albums that you still really like listening to today. Having them on a physical form just feels a lot more special than having them downloaded on your phone. And that's one of the biggest things I really like about vinyl as of late. And speaking of game soundtrack, one of the really exciting things that has happened this week is that my Elden Ring vinyl collection finally showed up in the mail after about 7 or 8 months of waiting. And I gotta say, it's definitely been worth the wait. And I want to go ahead and share this special moment with you guys. It came with 4 discs, all of the music from Elden Ring on these discs. I've gotten to listen to the first 3, and hopefully before I leave for locals today, I can actually listen through a little bit of the 4th disc, which has some of my favorite soundtracks like Millennia, The Beast Clergyman, and Godfrey First Elden Lord. If you guys haven't played Elden Ring, definitely go ahead and play it. The music is not only phenomenal, but the experience is rewarding and it's a really amazing game. I would 100% recommend it. But yeah, super excited this finally came in. The artwork on these double LPs is just really incredible, and the sound quality is amazing. And the packaging it came in as well too, really, really cool. Let me know if you guys have anything that you're into collecting. Drop it down in the comment section below. I'd love to hear it. Oh, I also have a little bit of a confession to make. I actually didn't go to locals this week. And I know, I'll be the first to admit I should have gone, but Overwatch 2 released on Tuesday, which was the same day of our locals, and I had to weigh the options. Do I go to locals and practice, or do I stay home and enjoy playing some Overwatch 2 with some of my friends? And I opted to go for the Overwatch 2 option, and could you really blame me? I personally really love the game. I know it's not everybody's favorite game, but I love the game to pieces. I played it a lot, when it first came out in like 2017, 2018, I played it very competitively. Ended up getting to, I think, like 3,200 playing support, and as my favorite character, by the way, if anybody's wondering. And I've just been having an absolute blast over the past week or so, every night sitting down for a couple hours and playing with friends, having an absolute blast. So that is why I did not go to locals this week so far on Tuesday. But don't worry, I'm still feeling pretty confident in the deck. I have gotten a couple matches in here and there playing on DB in an online tournament. Granted, it was an old format tournament because the tournament actually started before the list came out, so we just kind of finished it out. I did enjoy rebooting some people one last time, but now that luxury is gone for the foreseeable future. So yeah, that's all I wanted to update you guys on. Now, in terms of Yu-Gi-Oh news, we did get some new announcements for Darkwing Blast, some rarity leaks, some insane new cards that are going to be releasing in Photon Hypernova, like Triple Tactics. That card's just, I don't know who's in charge of printing these cards lately, but that card is insane. The Spellbound card got a little overhyped. I personally kind of overhyped it myself. I had to kind of step back and read it a couple times again to realize that it's not that insane. Although, if we were to get hit with a card like Spellbound on normal summon Petal, and we didn't have any other bodies to put on field, and we couldn't tribute the Petal, and we couldn't do anything with it, it seems kind of rough, honestly. So, if we do end up playing in Darkwing Blast format with this deck, that may be a card we kind of have to watch out for going forward. Who knows, maybe Blizzard will be finally worth playing in the side deck to deal with a card like Spellbound if it ends up being an actual problem. But again, only time will tell. We also finally got our OTS 20 leaks, which I think I covered briefly on at the end of the last episode, and that's pretty much about it. Now, regarding the deck list, what is our deck list going to look like for today's tournament? Well, let's go ahead and throw a picture of it right here on the screen. And as you guys can notice, there is no Dark Ruler in the main, and there is no Rivalry of the Warlords in the main either. I'm getting very, very tired of opening hard-going second cards when I go first, or hard-going first cards when I go second. I know Rivalry and Dark Ruler are both very high-impact cards. Rivalry, I know some people say, can technically be a board breaker, but I feel like right now we're in the state of the game where we really just can't afford to have a card like Rivalry be in our hand and hope it resolves when we're going second. It's just too good to be true sometimes. It's like wishful thinking, I guess, is a better way of putting it. So we're going to delegate cards like Dark Ruler No More and Rivalry of the Warlords to the side deck today, and we are bumping our hand trap count up big time. So we'll see how that plays out today. I do have high hopes. We do have a 54% chance, I think, of seeing 2 or more hand traps in our opening hand. And that's the sweet spot, right? It's the same number of playing 13 and 40, but we are playing 40 and playing a little bit higher. I want to play a little above 40 because I do have the math figured out for normal summon counts. One of the biggest problems this deck has always had is drawing too many normal summons. And going from having, I think we have 6 normal summons at 42, I think gives us like the lowest chance of seeing 1 or more normal summons in our hand. I think around 14 or so %. And I'm very comfortable with those numbers and ratios, so I'm not going to change it, and we're going to leave it as is. But today, it's going to be a little bit of an experiment to see how we can handle things without things like Dark Ruler and Rivalry in the main deck. I have a feeling I'm really going to like that choice game 1, and we have some flexibility to be able to choose whether we want things like Dark Ruler in our deck and Rivalry, you know, whether we get to go first or second. So I think that luxury is going to be really nice. The core of the deck is not changing. I love the main deck ratios. Like I said, the extra deck is also going to stay the same. I'm still not going to play that second Jasmine. If it comes up, I will let you guys know, but it still has yet to fully come up. Third Strenna, I think, is the move. Our boy Carrot Weight's not going anywhere either. And I have been getting some suggestions for some cool, spicy side deck stuff with the Naturia cards. But right now, I really don't want to go for the Bamboo Shoot line. I think it just adds too many bricks and inconsistencies. We also did get a new Synchro for the deck. I saw some combos around it earlier today, and it just seems like it plays way too many, combo pieces just to facilitate it. It just doesn't really seem worth it. I think we just stick to the tried and true combo that we've been going with. It's been working well so far, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So that's kind of the motto for this week. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. We went 3-1 last week. Hopefully we can do the same, if not better, this week, and hopefully we don't get FTK'd by Eradicator, Griffin, and that Baronne de Fleur. And I think that's where having the higher hand trap count will help. And, you know, that was like the logic behind why I wanted to do that. It's like, Dark Ruler is terrible against these decks. Not only is it bad against Tier because they don't really put up a crazy end board like Sprite, but they're also ripping the Dark Ruler out of your hand with Eradicator, so you'd rather punish them with hand traps. And same thing can kind of be said with Sprite now. Most builds of Sprite are kind of off Totally Awesome, moving to other engines where Dark Ruler might not be as effective. So one of the other reasons I think we can go ahead and cut it and just try to focus on more so hand trapping the opponent. And again, we're not getting rid of Dark Ruler completely. It's still on the side for those big combo decks if we need it. And we always got Rivalry of the Warlords up our sleeve as well for going first. So, and yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to update you guys on. I'm going to go hop in the shower, pack everything up, and head out to locals.
always wondered why they even bothered putting this card in this set. Makes no sense. And my 17th copy of Crab Eater.
These are from Konami. You are not physically getting these tonight. However, from this night forward, first place, second place, and third place can take pictures with these at the end of the night. And we'll put them on social media. Yeah, we only have one of each. I don't think you get more. But you get pictures. Instead, you get the Elden Trophy one.
Alright everybody, welcome to round 3, and it is time for some match analysis. Right now we're going to be going over a matchup we have not yet covered in this series, and that is the all-important mirror match. I'm not always a huge fan of mirror matches, but this one I do enjoy quite a bit as opposed to other decks I've played in the past. And I gotta say, it is nice being able to have a mirror match to actually go over, because I don't think we've had a mirror match covered in One Deck One Month in quite some time, because anytime I pick a deck for this series, I'm usually the only person on it in the room. But not this time. My friend Adam was the only other Rikka player in the room, and we got paired up against each other here in round 3 for actually the second week in a row. And we're both undefeated. And if you want to know what I played against in round 1 and 2, I played Despia round 1, won that one 2-1, and played Tri-Brigade Leerlusk round 2 against my friend Dalen, aka Mr. Top 16 from Nationals. And we won that one 2-1 as well. If you guys want to see either of those matches in their entirety, I'll leave a link to them up in the top right for you guys to check out. But let's go ahead and dive right into this. One other important thing I want to mention about this matchup too is while the core of our decks are very similar here in this mirror match, the defensive cards we chose to play are very different. He's on some board breakers and just a little bit of hand traps, I think, whereas I'm mainly on just all hand traps and no board breakers. So it'd be cool to see how these two different variants of the decks interact here. So my opponent leads with Princess linking into Dryas and activate Sowing. This is a really great line. I love seeing Sowing in opening hands. In my build currently, I'm only playing one. I believe he's playing 2. But you can just kind of see the benefit here of having an extra copy every now and then to be able to make plays like these happen. And so it would only been made better if he would have had Petal in hand, but I don't believe he opened Petal here. Just trying to make, what he has work right now. So he's going to go ahead and bring out Thrasher. Here I was like maybe expecting him to go for the healer instead and save the Thrasher for a later on line to potentially go for an OTK with Melius. Especially if he isn't going to commit to the line to gain life points with Jasmine. I find a lot of times if you don't end up using the healer play with Jasmine right off the rip, you pretty much never end up using it later on. So I was a little interested to see him go for the Thrasher here and him not go for the Jasmine healer line. I personally probably would have gone for healer here and just saved the Thrasher for later. Because he definitely could commit to that line because he has Lokai on field, but he's going to make a bit of a safer play, not commit so much. He's just going to go for Jasmine, tribute off the seed, bring out Petal, and Petal is going to go ahead and search him Mudan here. And this line is also really nice too because now he has a monster negate online. He's going to go ahead and tribute off the Petal to go ahead and bring out the Carrot Weight and the Mudan. I do hit the Mudan with Ghost Mourner and Moonlit Chill, and that is going to immediately force out the Princess Negate. So we can go ahead and search out that copy of Con. I wanted to Mourner the Mudan, or I think hand trapping Mudan in any sense with whatever hand trap you have is pretty much always correct. Mainly because cutting them off access from Con really turns off a lot for them. They don't get access to Glamour to make a bigger board. They don't get access to Sheet for more interruption. And they just don't get access to Con too, which makes playing on your turn a lot more difficult. So I feel like if there's one place you can try to hand trap, it's definitely going to be on something like Mudan. I could have arguably hit the Jasmine with something like the Mourner, but I didn't want to get punished by, special summon Mudan from hand and keep playing, or normal summon Petal, etc., etc. There's a lot of punishes to that, so I wanted him to commit at least to the Mudan. So now we're going to go ahead and see him set off of the Con, and he's going to go ahead and normal summon Carrot Weight, tribute it off here for the Glamour, search Primula, and another copy of Princess, so he has another copy in rotation for my turn, and Primula will special summon herself. And then he can go ahead and do a couple things here, but he's going to go ahead and use the Princess to modify levels, or the Snowdrop to modify levels, make Strenna, add back a card, and pass. He added back the mood on there. He's going to set an imperm. So not the full board. I think he probably could have gone for the full board if he really wanted to with that hand. He would have just had to have normal summoned the Carrot Weight, made Jasmine, link the Carrot Weight into Dryas, link the Loci into Healer, and then you're just off to the races. I get if he was trying to play around Nibiru there by maybe going that route, but both lines lose to Nibiru anyways by not going for the Healer Dryas stuff. But I guess it does save like some things in your extra deck for later too. And he still has Melius in the extra deck, but no Thrasher. So this is what I mean, right? If you want to like go for like a more conservative line, you could always just use Healer right off the bat and not worry about the Jasmine gain. That way you can keep kind of the Thrasher Melius line in the back pocket for later. So right now, I know that he has the Princess in hand, and I know that he has Mudan in hand, and the set is unknown. So I'm basically playing through 2 to 3 interruptions right now, one being from Con getting rid of something of my own, one being from the Princess, and the third being whatever he decides to bring out off of the Strenna. Probably something like the Teardrop. Teardrop tends to be pretty good against the mirror match, or something like here Hyperiton, which is also pretty decent. So I have a copy of Petal, Loci, Primula, Mudan, and Unexpected Die, and I'm just going to lead with Unexpected Die right into this because it's just like the least expensive play that I can make. And I'm going to go ahead and normal summon Petal here. I like to go for normal summon Petal with Unexpected Die, mainly because I can keep the Petal on field with the Princess in hand and do my whole seed line pretty much protected. And once he sees the Petal comes down, he's going to go ahead and negate with Princess, tributing off the Loci. Really good play there. Kind of threw me for a loop for a second, but I was like, you know what? I'm fine. We can kind of keep going through this right now. And if he doesn't have Sheet, since he opted to tribute one of my own monsters by applying that much pressure early on, the Strenna has just lost a lot more value at this point. And since, again, he didn't go for Healer, you know, I can still destroy his Jasmine and the Strenna that it points to by battle if I get to that point, right? So once he tributes off my Loki, I can proc the Primula in hand. Definitely don't want to forget Primula. Any chance you get to use that card, you want to take it because sometimes you might not get the opportunity to later on unless you go really out of your way. So we'll take the free body there, and we're going to go battle phase, crash the Dryas into the defense position Strenna. We'll take 2,000, and we're going to go ahead and gain it back to summon Healer. And Healer's going to gain us 300, and now we're up in life. And we're going to go for the Jasmine out, tributing off the Primula to go ahead and search. He has the Imperm there, and we get, you know, to punish him basically by having Mudan in hand still. So now with Con online, we can go ahead and get access to Glamour, which I do choose to just search the Snowdrop. I opt not to tribute something of his own because if I choose to tribute off his Jasmine with the Glamour, then I can't search Snowdrop. So I just directly go for the Snowdrop and use it to clear his Jasmine to go ahead and bring out Loci here. And I'm going to stop here for just a second because this is where things get really, really interesting. I want to show you guys the line I should have taken, and then I'm going to show you guys the line that I do end up taking, because right now we need to address a couple things, and I don't think I addressed them properly. One is the Petal Engrave, the other being the Strenna on field, and the other being the Con. We just kind of need a way to be able to check that if at all possible. So let's take a look at this on DB. All right, so I've kind of recreated the board state here on DB. The only thing that should be different, there should be a Primula in our grave. Everything else pretty much doesn't matter. So this is what our board looks like. We should have linked the Loci into Dryas, searched out the Sowing, activate the Sowing, bring out Twin, bring out Thrasher, bring out Loci, link into the Danspion. Here we would use the on-summon effect to see if we can try to get access to a Princess in some way, shape, or form. And then we don't have to special summon. It says you can special summon up to 2 excavated plant monsters. But it's important we leave the Snowdrop in a zone that Danspion doesn't point to for reasons that you'll see. So assuming that it whiffs, like it probably would have, right? We use Snowdrop, targeting herself, make everything level 8, then we overlay with the Snowdrop and the Twin into the Teardrop, and then we use Danspion's other effects, targeting the Primula, which would be in our grave, to make these now both level 4. And then we can go ahead and overlay those into Strenna. Strenna can detach to add back Glamour for follow-up for next turn. And then here we can use the Teardrop to tribute off our Strenna to be able to get access to a negate for next turn in the form of Hyperiton. So there's that line, but we also could have just made Alsay off of the Strenna, use Alsay to get rid of his Strenna, and then link off the Dance Peon and the Alsa into Melius, bring back the Lokai, then make Bangalancer, allowing us to end on Bangalancer with Teardrop. That way we could clear the Petal and clear another card later in his turn with the Bangalancer and hope that's enough. Those are 2 plays that we could have made that regardless I think were better than the play we ultimately ended up making. So for me, you're going to see me use the Snowdrop here immediately, making everything level 8 without even going for the sewing line, right? And just go for Alsa to put back the Strenna. That is the play that I made. Now, like I said, the other line I took might not have perfectly addressed everything, but I knew he had Mudon in hand, and I didn't want him to be able to start his turn just by, you know, Mudon, Tribute, Strenna, and that gives him a lot of plays to be able to make. Honestly, I could have even just ended on the Strenna too, because that makes it awkward for him because he can't tribute it, and if he does decide to tribute it, you know, we get an effect off of it. So he's going to end phase, get Petal, draw for turn, draws another Sowing, and then he's going to go ahead and use the Petal to go ahead and search here, which, you know, we could have technically had an interruption for that if we went for the board that I just made. And then he's going to go ahead and link 1 into Dryas, activate that other copy of Sowing, the second one coming in very clutch here. He'll take the 1,000, gain it back, bring out Lokai, bring out Healer, and at this point, I was pretty positive that he could go for an OTK, given the cards that he has in hand, and I kind of helped him work it out because he definitely should know the line to be able to OTK here, as easy as it would be, because he still has Thrasher. Or no, he doesn't have Thrasher in the extra deck, but I don't believe he needs the Thrasher, as he's just going to go ahead and go into Dance Peon here, make them both level 4, go into Strenna, add back, and then he's going to go ahead and use the Snowdrop in hand to bring out itself and Princess, go into the Teardrop, and yeah, this is where the OTK line comes in. Yeah, basically all he needs to do here is just link for Melius, bring back the Seed, go for Bangalancer, and then just go battle phase, right? Attack with the, or bounce with the Bangalancer, then swing in with the Bangalancer, attack with the Strenna, and then after Strenna attacks, use Teardrop to tribute it off to bring out Hyperiton, and then the Teardrop will gain 200, putting it up to 3k, and then 26 from Hyperiton for game. I was at 83, so that definitely would have been enough for game. So yeah, we get OTK'd on the Crackback. Like I said, I think the board I made there could have been leaps and bounds better. Was dealing with the Strenna in the way that it did more valuable? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about it down in the comments below. So here we are in game 2. I get to go first here. I'm going to go ahead and lead with the Loki into Dryas, activate Sowing. Sowing is going to go ahead and bring out Twin, and we're going to bring out Thrasher and Lokai from the grave with our respective effects. And we're going to go ahead and try to play around. I think I go for a line here that tries to play around evenly because I know we're both on the card and I don't want to just play right into it like super hard. I'm going to go for Petal. Petal is going to go ahead and secure us a copy of Snowdrop. And I think that's like one of the biggest things you can do in the mirror match is try to beat evenly to the best of your ability. And make sure you have Con and Princess access pretty much at all times. We also have Ash and Imperm, so whatever we do here is just going to be bolstered by those 2 extra interruptions. We're going to go ahead and activate Snowdrop here, tributing off the Dryas to go ahead and bring out the Mudon. Mudon's going to go ahead and search a sheet here. We could have set it off the Con, but I like being able to search it so my opponent doesn't know exactly where it is. We're going to go ahead and special summon Princess. We're going to make it, attempt to make everything level 4. My opponent has Imperm on the Snowdrop, so I just link into Dance Peon. I use the effect. It does hit a free body, so can't complain about that. We use Dance Peon to go ahead and make everything she points to level 4. We go ahead and detach, add back Princess so we can play around Call By. Can't link with the Lokai there, but it doesn't matter. We can just link into Melius and then go ahead and bring back the Seed and go for Benji. And we're going to go ahead and set one off the Glamour. It's going to be, or off the Con, it's going to be Glamour. We're going to set 2 more and pass. So it's not like super playing around evenly. I guess if I'm being totally honest, I didn't need to set off of Con here. And I also probably didn't need to use the effect of the Dance Peon. I think those are 2 things that I think I probably did incorrectly, because we want to end on a minimal board, right? Ideally, we're ending on just sheet, Strenna, Bangalancer, and the Field Spell. Those are the only cards we want on the field if we're really trying to beat evenly matched. Because if they do evenly us, we're only getting rid of the Con, the Bangalancer, and the Sheet. We keep Princess and we keep Strenna with the Princess in hand. That way we can't get beat by Called By. I mean, they could still always Called By the Strenna, which would be really, really bad. But still, they can't outright just Called By the Princess. So if they evenly us, we just keep Princess, we keep Strenna, right? And then when they go to do something we negate, it turns into another negate. So we still have at least 2 interruptions through evenly matched. I think I played a little bit too much into it because now I have a Loci on board and a Glamour that I'm going to have to get rid of if I do get hit with evenly. But my opponent leads with Con. And at that point, I'm like, all right, I know he doesn't have evenly now for a fact. He's going to go ahead and Glamour away my Bangalancer, and I go ahead and Ash that. Because I just don't want to lose out super hard there. Then he's going to go into the Dryas, and he just has another Glamour and a Sheet in hand, which, you know, not looking too good for him there. He's just going to go ahead and battle phase attack. He'll take 2,000 or 600 into the Loci, and I impermit in the battle phase so he doesn't get to summon, so he basically just takes damage for no reason there, and he's going to set some cards and pass. So right now, I just need to be able to OTK here. The only interruptions he could really have right now would be something like Sheet. So I just need to be able to beat the Sheet and go for a game through that. So I go ahead and activate the Glamour, tribute off his Dryas to go ahead and search out Princess and Carrot Weight, and we also got Mudan off of our Petal as well, getting all of our free searches out of the way. I guess the other thing I could have done here was just use Con to set, but I guess I really didn't need to be totally honest. So now we're just going to go ahead and Mudan, tribute over the Strenna, chainlink 1 Mudan, chainlink 2 Strenna, bring out Alsay, grab another Con, and then we're going to go ahead and use the Alsay to go ahead and put back one of his back row to the top of his deck to reset, like, you know, set him back a turn. And it is the Sheet, so that does get forced out. He's going to go ahead and get rid of the Alsay and take the Mudan. We're going to normal Carrot, go ahead and bring out Princess, go for another Strenna, activate Strenna, detaching Carrot Weight. And here I add back the Snowdrop. And this is also why I added that other Con to hand, so I could just activate another Con and tribute off my own Mudan to bring out Snowdrop and Petal. And keep in mind, that is one thing that you can do, is if you activate another Con, you can tribute using their stuff a second time, because the effect to tribute their own stuff, your opponent's stuff, is a soft once per turn. Keep that in mind. Then we're going to go ahead and use Carrot Weight to send off the Loci to bring itself back, right? And then we still have the Bangalancer engraved to be able to go for game. So we kind of do what our opponent did to us game 1 here in game 2. You know, break the board and OTK on the following turn because they just couldn't deal with the follow-up. I mean, they couldn't get through the board in the first play here, but it's the same thing, right? So now let's take a look at the all-important game 3 situation. All right, so in game 3, I'm expecting my opponent to go first, and that's exactly what happens. In my opening hand, I have evenly matched Lone Fire Blossom, Ghost Bell, Cosmic Cyclone, and Snowdrop. So pretty solid hand for going second into the Rikka board, and I'm expecting my opponent to try to play around evenly. So if he doesn't, it's going to go in quite a bit. And Ghost Bell is going to come in very, very clutch to stop something like Strenna from going off, because yes, the graveyard effect of Strenna is something that you can bell. So my opponent is thinking carefully on what to go ahead and lead with here. He decides to go for the Loci, linking that into Dryas to go ahead and search out Sowing, activate the Sowing, bring out Twin, take the damage, bring out Loci, and bring out another monster from the extra deck. It's Thrasher, goes for Jasmine, links off into Dryas and Healer, gains 300, you know, standard plant combo like we're used to seeing here. And he's going to go ahead and search off of the Jasmine. Going to go ahead and grab Princess, and then Tribute to go ahead and grab Petal. Petal is going to go ahead and grab Snowdrop. And at this point, I'm kind of reading that he already has Mudan in hand somewhere. Or maybe doesn't need it, right, because he's already opened Con, which is something that, you know, you don't always need to grab Mudan, especially if you have already access to, like, a lot of your stuff. And we're going to see him go ahead and go for Con. Con's going to set Glamour, and he's going to use Glamour to go ahead and tribute off the Dryas to go ahead and search out Primula and Carrot Weight. I personally don't like doing that, only because if you use Glamour and you get exactly Primula Carrot Weight, you don't have a way later on to resolve Glamour to search 2 level 4s because you got your 2 1-of level 4s out of the deck already. He could have just gotten Primula and another Princess, or he could have just gotten Princess and Carrot Weight, keep the Primula in the deck, right? Because having multiple princesses isn't bad, because if you use one on your turn, you use one, or you just load up your graveyard with 2 to like negate something on my turn and then have another negate when it comes back to you. And you know, he's gonna go for that very conservative play line here. I was debating on belling the Melius, but I was like, you know what? I just need to hold it for the Strenna, because I know when I evenly him, I know he's gonna keep the Strenna. I knew for a fact he was gonna do that, so wanted to save it for that interruption. And he ends on the board, right? A very minimal board, what I should have ended on in my game 2 to try to beat a potential evenly. Very clean, very minimal board, just Bengal Lancer, Strenna, with Princess access, and Sheet, and Con. So even if they don't have evenly, it's still a pretty strong board. But I do have the evenly here, and I know exactly what he's going to keep, because we've gone over this several times. I think it's just absolutely the best thing to keep is the Strenna on field, because you still leave yourself with 2 interruptions. 1 negate with the Princess, and 1 negate with whatever you summon off of the Strenna. I start by special summoning Princess, and tributing it to go ahead and bring out Snowdrop. And this looks like a very, like, I'm kind of in a bad position play. And I was expecting him to negate this, right? Because I was going to bring out the Snowdrop and the Lone Fire. And I was like, okay, if he negates the Snowdrop, that's fine, because now I can just normal summon Lone Fire freely into this board and basically play my strategy for free at this point, because he's not going to be able to get an extra interruption off the Strenna, because I'm going to have Bell for it. And there's the Bell, and that's going to go in insanely huge there. Normal summon Lone Fire, no interruptions on that, and basically right now we're kind of free to play. We just have to worry about other hand traps right now, like a potential Ash or something, right? Any monster-based hand trap is something that we could technically prevent right now, but it still would kind of hurt a little bit. So here I was debating for a little while, you know, do I summon Lokai off of this Lone Fire, or do I summon Petal? You can see them both there at the top of my deck, trying to decide which one I want to go for. I think it would have been much safer to summon out Petal, assuming that I would have had the Princess Negate live already. But I do admittedly get a little greedy here, and I go for this line just because I felt like if I just go for Petal, it's probably not going to be strong enough to be able to stop the follow-up next turn, because he does have, you know, 4 cards in hand, and he does have Petal engraved, right? He's going to have 5 to start off his turn, and I wanted to go for something, like I said, that's going to be just a little bit more impactful, put up a little bit more, you know, resistance for him to try to get through. So we're going to go ahead and bring out Mudan. It's going to get chain blocked with Primula. We're going to get access to Con, and right now I wanted to be able to make Strenna, so need to try to find a way to do that. And the only way to do that is by linking into Dance Peon. I hit 2 extra copies of Petal, which the reason why I used the Dance Peon here was to try to get access to another Princess, just so I could have, you know, multiple negates, right, across a couple turns. We're still able to get access to Strenna. We detach to go ahead and add back, and we do add back the Princess, again, just to be safe from call by, and then we're going to go ahead and set off the Con, which is going to be Sheet, and we set another card, and we pass turn. End phase, my opponent is going to go ahead and get access to Petal, and at this point, it's just like try to keep his field clear, and don't let him get off the ground, because the moment at this point, if he's able to start searching cards, if he's able to get access to Rikka engine cards, it's just going to be like kind of hard to come back from. So I'm trying to shut him down early and fast. So he's going to go ahead and start by activating Petal. We're going to use Princess to go ahead and tribute the Petal off of his own to negate. And he drew Nibiru for turn, which is also really unfortunate. One of the reasons why I probably should have summoned Petal off of the Lone Fire to play it really safe there. He's going to go ahead and activate the Sowing now, brings out Lokai, and I'm just going to go ahead and take that with Sheet by tributing off the Strenna to go ahead and bring out Hyperiton. And now we have another negate live, and he still has nothing left on field. And we're going to force him to basically commit a normal summon. He's going to go ahead and activate Glamour to go ahead and search 1. And we'll see what he's going to opt to go ahead and grab here. He has Carrot Weight, he has Snowdrop, and he has Mudan in hand. And he's going to go ahead and add another copy of Princess here. And he's going to activate Princess, special summon it out, go ahead and link into the Dryas. And here I was expecting him just to go battle phase and attack and take some damage into the Lokai, and then summon out another body. But he just goes and commits a normal summon here of Carrot Weight. And he's just going to go ahead and link 2 into Dance Peon. And this was kind of like a little bit of a Hail Mary play for him. I do negate with the Hyperiton. He does protect with the Sowing, so it doesn't get destroyed. But he just has Snowdrop Nibiru, and he goes and uses the Carrot Weight to go ahead and bring out itself. Battle phase, attack over the Dance Peon. I protect, and then he forces to crash Dance Peons. And then from there, he has to pass turn. And my Petal comes back, triple Petal on field, right? Kind of cool. But we're just going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Con is going to go ahead and set. And we're going to add Princess off of the Petal, just so we have a Monster Negate ready for the push to be able to stop something, again, potentially like Nibiru there. And we had Cosmic ready for Con if you tried to tribute over any of my stuff. So very, very grindy game 3. Really interesting match. Like, a lot of stuff to say here. I probably could have gone in more detail over this, but my voice would be destroyed and this video would be insanely long. But I think one main thing to take away there is die roll, pretty important in this matchup. Playing around evenly in game 2, also very, very important. And just managing your resources very properly. I think my friend might have misplayed, because if that Carrot Weight was something like Princess, he would have been able to stop, I think, like my Strenna. Had he searched out another Princess in the previous turn, but instead he searched Primula Carrot Weight, I think he probably could have searched Princess Primula and had 2 princesses, because that other Princess negate, if he would have had it at the start of his turn, might have made a big difference there, to definitely turn the tide in his favor a little bit. I played a little sloppy, could have been a lot cleaner. We both could have, honestly. You know, we're not perfect by any means, but yeah, game 3, the main idea was just like keep things off his field. I knew some of the cards in his hand, and the only way he could get them on field was by attributing something, and I just wanted to make them dead by clearing his field as often and as fast as possible, and not let his engine get rolling off the ground. But yeah, that is our round 3 match. What a match. Let's go back to locals. All right, guys, we just wrapped up round 3. I actually played against my friend Adam.
Beat my cheeks. What can I say?
He's the plant protege. It's the second time in a row I've beat him. I'm getting lucky every single time. My luck's gonna run out next time, I guarantee it. But it's a pretty good match. We'll probably save that one to go over, honestly, because I don't think we've gone over a Rikka mirror yet on the channel, so we'll do that. And round 1. We might be winning that trophy too. You guys saw what winning the trophy. You guys saw what I, filmed right at the start of the tournament. So we might win the trophy. We don't get to keep it. We get to take a picture with it, which is cool, I guess. But we played against my friend Dalen round 2, top 16, Nats Duelist on the Tri-Brigade deck. We won that one. My opening hand game 3 was absolutely insane. Triple Imperm, Duster, and Seed Ash as the 6th card. I literally couldn't believe it. No one would believe it, in fact, if it wasn't on camera. And that match should already be uploaded on the channel for you guys to see. And round 1, we played against Despia, or Branded. That was an interesting match. I think he was newer to the deck. Wasn't seeing some of the things I would typically see in a Branded deck, but we were able to take that one 2-1. So with all that being said, yeah, that's how our tournament has been going so far. We are 3-0. Hopefully we can go 4-0. Just hoping we don't play against Runic next round, because there are some Runic decks floating around, some decks like Labyrinth, more control-heavy decks. Not really looking forward to playing against something like that. I'd rather play against Tier Combo now that we've got the Hand Trap build ready. And Hand Traps did come in clutch. The Bell came in very clutch game 3 in the mirror, and you guys have probably already seen that, or will see that next if I go over it next. So, yep, just a mid-tournament update. I'll go ahead and update you guys after the tournament is over, and hopefully we are undefeated next time I talk to you guys.
Everybody play Rikka.
I'm down. I'll go first.
All right. Good luck, Chief.
Best of luck, yeah. And yeah, just like that, our shot at going 4-0 is out the window because of that extremely unfortunate brick hand. Oh well. Oh my goodness. I don't think we've ever been closer to a 4-0 finish than we have tonight, and have it slip out of our hands so incredibly fast. Now, part of me thinks that I made a mistake in game 2 that made it so we should not have gone to a game 3, and we're going to go over that game specifically. We'll save games 1 and game 3 for you guys to see on your own in the video when it goes up. And if I upload this when I think I'm going to upload it, that video should already be up. So if you want to watch the full match, link up in the top right. But man, oh man, cannot believe we lost to that brick hand double imperm bell DD Crow called by. All we needed to see was an unexpected die, Lokai, 1-for-1, Glamour, Pedal, any of those cards, and we were in a good position. But that's just how it is sometimes, and the way this game unfortunately has to play out sometimes. There's no mulligans. You could build your deck mathematically perfect as you can, and you could still have things happen like that, right? There's no such thing as a 100% consistent deck. It just doesn't exist, and that happened to us unfortunately. Not only game 1, round 1, but game 3, round 4. So it is what it is. Yeah, I think we'll go over that game 2 because, like I said, the only thing that could have possibly took it to a game 3 there, maybe unnecessarily, was a potential misplay that I maybe made, and we'll try to figure out what that is, if it's anything. But yeah, now it's time to make the drive home, and we'll wrap this episode up, and well, I might not wrap it up right when I get home because I've been trying to get in the habit of waiting a couple days after to reflect on some things to see if I missed anything, because I found that if I do like the recap right after locals, I tend to see things later on, and I want to wait a little bit before I make any final decisions or things like that. And we'll talk about how the hand trap build performed today as well. Yeah, don't mind the forehead dent there. That's from the GoPro and all the recording we did with it tonight. Just know I go through a lot of pain and suffering to get you guys the entertainment you deserve, but that's just the kind of generous person I am. Almost left without getting my pack and store credit. Obviously, we did get 15 credit for going 3-1. Should have been 4-0, but it is what it is, right? The only thing that can really salvage this would be an ulti right here in the close. But I'm not holding out hope for it because we got a mask token and a Hercules beetle. I still don't know why. If anybody can please tell me why they put Hercules beetle in a tournament pack, something that players who play competitively will go to tournaments to get exclusively. We're getting Hercules beetle. This could have literally been any other card in the game that needed a reprint, but they chose Hercules beetle. Now, does that make sense to any of you guys watching? No, because it shouldn't make sense. I don't know what they're doing, man. I don't know. And the mask token instead of a sword soul or brave token, also very confusing. And we still didn't get one in OTS 20 either, which is also extremely confusing. Alright, so yeah, I'll be the first one to admit losing like that in game 3 and round 4 really felt terrible, and anybody that's ever lost to a brick hand knows that it feels really, really bad. The main reason being because it's just totally out of control most of the time, and there's really nothing to learn or take away from that. It's just simply an L that gets handed to you by a random chance. Now, in this case, it's maybe not all up to chance, and you'll hear me talk about this later on in the episode, that this loss would feel better if we were able to take something away from it, and I think we can do that by analyzing game 2. I think there's things we could have probably done differently in game 2 to allow us to take the win there and secure the match, avoiding an unnecessary game 3. That's what we're going to find out right now. So my opponent's opening hand here in game 2 was double Pearl Rhino, Dracoback, Super Poly, Havness. My opening hand was Snowdrop, Princess, Lone Fire, DD Crow, Imperm. Those are my opening 5. 2 hand traps feels really good, especially into the hand that he opened. Now he leads with Pearl Rhino. He's going to go ahead and activate the effect to search, and he's going to go ahead and go for Rhino Heart. Now, I do have a rule of thumb when it comes to playing against tier players. It's usually that if they lead with Pearl Rhino to grab Rhino Heart, and then immediately normal summon the Rhino Heart to send, it means they probably don't have another way of play. They have to go directly to the source and basically normal summon their Armageddon Knight. And that's usually where sometimes I'll feel inclined to fire the DD Crow on whatever name they sent. And I definitely could have done that here, but I decided to hold my hand traps, play a little bit more conservative, not hit the first thing that he does right. Let him invest into a Kit Kalos and then fire the Imperm there, knowing that Kit Kalos against more pure, so like tier decks, is pretty much always going to be a choke point. And to no surprise, I Imperm the Kit, and he sets a card and passes turn. And now I get to keep the DD Crow in my hand as a bit of a defensive card during my turn. So I draw Glamour as the 6th card. We go ahead and fire that off to go ahead and grab a copy of Mudan here, mainly so I can get Mudan on field by tributing off the Princess that I already drew, so I can have that monster negate readily available. So I do special summon the Princess, I do tribute it for Mudan, activate Mudan effect, he chains Havness. Now, this, I think, is the crucial moment. I've watched this over a couple times. I think negating Havness here was exactly what I needed to do. Not necessarily to keep him from milling names, but to keep a body off the board. Now, I know that sounds like super heads up, but that's the only thing that I've noticed that allows me to really get an edge in this game for reasons that you'll see in just a moment. So I let the Havness resolve because I was too focused on saying, yep, I'm just going to resolve my Mudan. Sure, Havness is fine. I was confident because I had the DD Crow. And, he does hit one name off of it. So the DD Crow trades very, very well here. Very, very well. And now I still have to worry about Super Poly in the back, right? I don't know it's Super Poly. The only things I could, deduce that it could be are Solic or Super Poly. I think those are, the only things that you could really guess that back row could be. It's definitely not Called by the Grave because he would have used it on the DD Crow 100%. So I activate Con, and my opponent fires the Super Poly here. He discards the Draco back, fusions with the Havness and the Kit Kalos, and he's going to go for Drago Stapelia. And he goes Chainlink 1 Havness, Chainlink 2 Kit, and tries to go Chainlink 3 Pearl Rhino, but remind him that he can't do that because nothing's been shuffled into the deck yet. So first he has to resolve all of his effects, then he can use Pearl Rhino. His Kit doesn't hit any names except a Solic, which is Adam something, and now he can resolve Havness. So my monster negate from Princess is getting less and less valuable now at this point because he chain blocked the Havness effect. And now there's 2 Drago Stapelias on field, and I've lost my Con to his Pearl Rhino, and his Solic is going to go ahead and grab him a copy of Shiren. So I decide to normal summon the Lone Fire here, and to my surprise, he doesn't end up negating it, which I was a little surprised. And then we go ahead and tag out for Lokai. We link for Dryas. He does negate the effect of Dryas with the Drago Stapelia. And here, I'm kind of in a really tough spot, right? I'm in a tough spot if I don't stop the Drago Stapelia. So I have to stop this one Drago Stapelia from resolving by tributing it off with Princess so I can go ahead and search Sowing because I just need a plant body. I still need a way to get to a link 2 here at least. So we go and get Sowing. Sowing brings us out a Lokai. We take the 1000 damage, and now we have Sowing in grave, which will allow us to link for a second Dryas. And now we can go battle phase here and attack into his other Drago Stapelia and protect it with the Sowing. And we're going to use its effect to, when we take the damage, gain it back and summon. He tries to negate with the Drago Stapelia, but Drago Stapelia doesn't negate activations, so it cannot negate something in damage step. So this effect will go ahead and resolve here. He should have done it prior, but he did not, so he missed the window there. We bring out Healer. Healer's going to go ahead and allow us to gain some life points back. And now we can go into a Link 2. It's just about what Link 2 do I go into. I wanted to go for Jasmine, but I know Jasmine is just going to get negated by the other Drago Stapelia. That's not burned its negate yet. And if I go Jasmine, tribute Mudan, and he negates, I just lose big time. There's just no other way around that. So I go for Danspion here, and, I go Danspion effect. Maybe he won't interrupt this because it's a random effect, but I believe he does negate. And now my only option left here is to go for Melius into Seed, into Bengalancer. And then I basically, I don't know if I Bengalancer bounce one of the Drago Stapelias here. I think I do, and I take a lot of damage. I take 3,200 because of Pearl Rhino. And from there, my opponent draws Rhoda for turn. He has Shiren and Pearl Rhino, and I don't think I need to say or show anything else. So the big takeaway there was, yes, a Game 3 definitely was preventable, and that's what I wanted to figure out. Was it by a very small margin? Yes. Negating the Havness and using that Princess Negate much earlier on would have just been way better, because why take the chance of Havness hitting one or no names when you could just stop the card from hitting the field altogether and stop the mills altogether and then hold the DD Crow for something else, right? That, I think, was the biggest mistake that I made. Because if I would have held the DD Crow and he had some other way to fusion still, to like fuse with his Kit Kalos, which the only way I think he could have super polyed with just his kit and something on my field is if I would have had the Carrot Weight on board. And even at that point, if his kit resolves and, you know, mills 5, I still have at least the DD Crow to hit one of the names. And we're still playing. Because not having access to Con there really, really hurt. And wasn't able to tribute over any of his stuff with the Snowdrop. I really needed the push of Snowdrop over Dragospellia, over a kit to bring out itself and Lone Fire. Really needed that to go through. Really needed to have access to Sheet, and we didn't have that. It's just plain and simple. And we end up losing there because of that. But yeah, at least now I know, yes, in fact, it was preventable, that game 3. All right, everybody, time to fully wrap up this episode. It is 5 o'clock on Tuesday, and I'm actually just about to start recording episode 3 for this series, or I might film it tomorrow after locals. But yeah, wanted to wrap things up, and I wanted to show you guys sort of where I'm planning to take the build next. It's still hand-trapped focused. I think that's the route I want to continue to try going into the last 2 weeks of this series. I've been playing the deck pretty much exclusively the other way ever since I started. Well, not ever since I started playing it, but for a very long time. I've been maining like Rivalries and Dark Rulers, and I do really want to give hand traps a shot in the main, because I feel like hand traps are just really good, especially getting to play things like Nibiru, Ash, Imperm, Crow, Bell, Valor, all these really good cards that I feel like we're definitely going to want to have into the new format when, you know, Tier and Sprite get a lot stronger, and, you know, you can't always afford to have going first cards in your hand like Rivalry when going second, or having going second cards in your hand going first like Dark Ruler. I'm kind of over that right now, and like I said, I want to try something different with the hand traps. And for this list, I am opting to play 3 Ash, 3 Crow, 3 Nibiru, 3 Imperm, 1 Valor, and 1 Bell, mainly because I wanted more Imperm-like cards in the deck, so I wanted to squeeze a Valor in, and I wanted more Crow-like cards for the Tier matchup, so I put in a single copy of Bell to be like a 4th Crow, if you will. Nibiru is a card that I really haven't been a huge fan of in this deck, but now that I've been thinking about it a little bit more, Nibiru actually has a decent amount of synergy in this deck. Like, just tributing over our own field, like tributing over Estrena just sounds really amazing, honestly. Not only we do wipe their whole field, but we still get an interruption out of it. If we tribute over our Bengal Lancer after we use its effect, right, we can just bring it back next turn. The only issue it does have is Petal not being able to come back in the end phase. But if we set up our follow-up correctly, we shouldn't always have to worry about that, especially if we're like wiping their whole field and they lose a lot of tempo off of that. We can kind of afford to lose that as well. I don't know if I'll keep maining Nibiru. It's going to be something I try out going into the start of next week, into the 3rd episode. It's probably what I'm going to run at Tuesday Locals today. I'm also playing 1-for-1 in the main deck too. I think I was playing it in the last episode, or in this episode, and that's what I'm going to continue to try as well. I think if I'm going to play more hand traps, I've got to play a copy of 1-for-1 since we have more monsters in the main deck, whereas when we were playing Rivalry and Dark Ruler, I don't think it made as much sense because we were lacking a lot of monsters in the main deck, whereas now we have plenty of monsters in the main. So I think that's the direction of the list going forward. Our tournament run this week, as fortunate as it ended, it is what it is. We just learn, we improve, we play to get better, and we take that same energy going into the next week, and hopefully we can get that 4-0. And we got so close. Like, everything went very much our way. And honestly, as unlucky as we got in the 4th and final round, we have to take into account we did get pretty lucky in round 2. That game 3 match against my friend Daniel, we got very lucky there. Our opening hand, game 3 in the mirror, was also just cracked too. A little bit of luck there, so can't always just look at the bad luck. We did get a decent amount of good luck too, on top of just, I think, playing pretty okay. There was definitely some misplays that I made, and we've already gone over those at this point, I hope. And yeah, that's going to wrap it up for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like if you did. And as always, Winner Kills signing out. We'll see you guys in the next one. And like always, a big thank you goes to our Divine Level channel members who are Pony Stark, Cadillacs84, Justin Lamb, and HCH Cyber. Thank you guys so much as always for extremely kind and very generous support of this channel.